Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Busy Woman's Kitchen. This is our special dish of the day. Rice balls served with chutney and pickle. Now this is what the rice balls look like. They're stuffed with mince, potato and chickpeas. Green peas, sorry. They are absolutely delicious, easy to eat. So serve them with chutney, pickle, mango chutney, anything you fancy. Do try them out, especially if it's one of those days when you've cooked loads of rice and the rice has gone a disaster. This is a disaster dish that is absolutely with a difference. So I hope you'll try it out. Join me again for some more dishes, and inshallah I'll see you again soon. Did you enjoy breakfast? Oh, no. On my face. What have you done? So for the mixture, for the stuffing of the rice balls, we're going to be using mince, which we're going to pre-cook with some onions, garlic, some fresh taken out pea pods, and some diced potatoes. So all these ingredients, we're gonna put them in a pot and cook all this on a slow heat. Add maybe a couple of tomatoes, so the tomatoes leave out the juice and it naturally cooks in that. For the mixture, we're going to be adding the spices to it, and in the meantime we're going to be preparing the mixture that we're going to be adding to the rice. And the rice, we're going to pre-prepare that by putting it through the blender. Okay, so in the meantime we're going to cook all these ingredients. Once they've started on their way to cooking, and the ingredients that I add to this, I will follow up with that. I don't like to add the spices at the beginning because they tend to lose flavor. So it's the timing has to be right. For me, over years experimenting, I actually like red chili and so on, it loses the flavor once it overcooks, and I don't recommend adding it right at the beginning. So for the moment, what we're going to do is add all these ingredients and cook these. Now this is also a similar procedure that we would also use for samosa filling. So this mixture, I am going to be using this for both stuffing rice balls and also for making pastry samosas also. So we're going to be doing like a double take of this, and inshallah I'm just going to let this cook, the meat cook for about 10-15 minutes, and then add the onions and onions I've already added, the potatoes and the peas. So once it's going to start sticking to the bottom of the pan, so what you've got to do is you've got to make sure that stir this around, because I've not added no oil or anything. We don't want no oil added to this. We want to dry fry all this mixture. So just to take away the smell of the meaty smell, we're going to be adding ginger and garlic paste to this, and a couple of green chilies, and just a little bit of salt, so it starts to let out the water. We're not going to add all the salt, just a little bit of salt. Later on we're going to add the salt and the chili powder and so on later on. Okay, make sure to give this a good stir, because you don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan. Make sure your heat is low. Now the meaty smell from this mince and just onions is not very nice. It's quite offensive actually. So generally we don't cook, I don't prefer to cook meat like this because it does give off the meaty smell. Generally once it's cooked, it cooks out. But to this I've just made some paste of garlic, chili, tomatoes and ginger here. So those ingredients, I've combined them and I've made this paste, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of spoons maybe 3-4 spoons to this mixture. Not going to use it all. And that combination of those garlic and ginger and the chilies and so on will actually take away the meaty smell, and it will also obviously add flavour to it. So I'm just going to let this slightly water up, and once the water has slightly dried out, add a bit of salt to it. Salt will help draw out more of the water. So cook this for a little while, and then add the pea pods and the cut up, diced up potatoes. So we're going to add these once the water content has slightly dried out of this, and you know, the meat has sort of like a little bit fried up. We're going to add this, and then later on add the rest of the spices until the mixture is ready. So when your mince has reached, it's been cooking for about half an hour, it's dried out, all the water content has dried out, and it's sort of like almost semi-cooked. We're going to add the peas, fresh peas, and we're also going to add the chopped diced potatoes. And we're just going to let this cook in its, maybe add a little bit of water just to soften the potatoes and the peas. And once that's dried out and the potatoes are softened up, we're going to add the salt, the chili powder and some mixed spices to this. And now we're going to leave this on slightly medium heat. And separately what we've done is cut up all the vegetables. Now this is capsicums, about the half of courgette, chilies, sliced very finely chopped up onion, a bit of spring onion, and I've also got my pre-cooked rice, which is a disaster rice, which I cooked about a couple of days ago, and it was too much, and we had some leftover. So this I'm going to put in a grinder and grind this into fine, really fine pulp. In that I'm going to add the salt and the spices and all this mixture, and I'm going to form them into balls. And the cooked mince, once it's ready, when I form the balls, I'm going to stuff that inside and coat it with egg white and then breadcrumbs and deep fry them. So join me for a little bit further on as I crush this. I also need to have some coriander, fresh coriander, which I'm going to also finely chop up, and then all these ingredients form them into the base for the balls. So once the mixture has dried out and the potatoes and the peas are cooked through and are tender, add your dry ingredients, which are ground cumin, chili powder, turmeric, paprika mixed together, salt and some ground coriander. So add all those ingredients and stir them around, and then cook for a few minutes. Just let that blend in. Turn the heat slightly down, and that will add the flavour and give it the beautiful smell. And this is dry mixture. This has got no oil whatsoever, which is the way you want to keep it. Last thing you want is oil sleeping out over your samosas or the mixture. We're just going to add some chopped up coriander and a few chopped up green chilies to this mixture, and blend them in and just let them sit for on this very, very low heat for about 5 minutes. And then let this mixture cool down. And so to this all these mixed ingredients that have been finely chopped, we need to add some grated cheese. Now this is quite a large amount that I'll be making, and to that we need to add some salt, and then to that we need to add a little bit of mixed spices. Now I like cumin, so this is ground cumin. Just sprinkle a bit of that, and we've already got some green chilies. We're not going to add anything else apart from the rice, which has been squashed. So this is like very fine rice, and basically we're just gonna mix all these ingredients, make them into like a nice dough. So knead them into like a dough. All good exercise for the arms. So once all the ingredients are mixed up, we're gonna start making these into balls and making a hole in the middle of the ball. I've left the mixture, the spicy mixture, to cool down, and we're gonna stuff the balls with the mixture, mince mixture, and then coat them with egg white and breadcrumbs, and then deep fry them. Okay, so to make the rice ball, what you need to do is flatten out a piece of the rice, place a ball of mince in the center, and then close this up from all the sides. And if you have to add a little bit more, just look. Please don't talk. Oh, okay, so you're just making them into balls like this. Just dip your hands in a bit of water and just make them into rounded off balls. So again, what we want to do is take a handful, make it into like a ball, flatten it into a nice round wide. Take a handful of the mince mixture, form that into a ball, place that in the center, and close off the ball, and then just dab a bit of water and make it into a round ball, and just keep making these and putting them to a side until you've made the whole mixture into balls. And then we're gonna cover this in the egg white and breadcrumbs and deep fry. So take the ball and coat it in some egg white, and then roll it around in some breadcrumbs and throw them in for deep frying. slightly golden brown them. What are you doing, Isa? Come on. So, brown them until golden and then serve with chutney and homemade salad.